Johnny said he's still trying. All right, I'm gonna try and bring him back in. All right, I'm gonna try and bring him back in. Hopefully
Wait,
this.
wait. Can you
Yes,
hear
there
me?
we are. Yes, sir. Fuck, man.
Sorry,
Dude,
bro.
you know what, man? I really think that Instagram has been like so busy with doing things like this, and everyone's going
Yeah.
live and all these artists and shit. So I think they're just working overtime, bro. But how you doing, man? Thank you for joining
Oh,
Tales from Quarantine. What's popping?
yeah, dude. I'm just, I guess, quarantined like everybody else. Getting
Oh no.
bored. Boredom is the worst
Right.
part, I would say.
Yes, very much so. So Johnny, to get right into it, man, I you guys kind of went under the radar. Like I've been around for a while, and I'm a big metalhead and
Yeah.
hardcore kid and post-hardcore, all that shit. But I feel like Hollywood Undead kind of went under my radar specifically. Obviously, not under tens of millions of other people's radars because you guys are massive, which is dope. But everything that I've heard, and once I started listening to you, I've seen you guys once, so I have seen you live.
Okay.
I saw you when you were on tour with Crown the Empire
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
and in New York,
I
and
love
we
those
had
guys.
that's when Fire from the Gods had just got signed, and I was just walking through the city with my chick one day, and I saw Crown the Empire was playing, and we stumbled to a show, and it's like Hollywood Undead, and she's like, "Oh shit, Hollywood Undead? What?" And I'm like, "Who's Hollywood Undead, B?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's
like
cool.
I said, I'm an East Coast hardcore kid, so I guess we miss certain things because we're ignorant sometimes. You know how it is, but what I have listened to, dude, it's awesome. I love the stuff. And 6 days from now, albeit no quarantine, we would have been on tour together.
I know,
So
dude. It breaks my heart. Um,
yeah,
it sucks, man. Spending. I mean, obviously, there's much worse things that I try not to be selfish about it because obviously it
yeah,
affects our lives, but I know a lot of people are much more adversely affected. So I try and keep it
right.
cool and stuff, and it's just a tour. But I mean, we'll get back there and stuff. It's going to take some
Yeah.
time, but
I
yeah,
know
man.
they were talking about postponing and such like that, so maybe we'll push it for 2021. Whatever it may be, I'm really stoked on the fact that you guys even considered having us out. I know, when it comes to industry, it's like, there's a lot of hands that need to be shook and certain things, certain criteria. But the fact is, I think it would have been fantastic to be out with you guys because you guys do exactly what Fire from the Gods wants to do. And that's kind of like set your own road. You've kind of
Right.
paved your own road. You are your own band, and that I've always respected that about bands like Deftones,
Yeah.
even bands like Slipknot. You know what I'm saying? Like they are distinctly their bands,
Yeah.
and there's like no other genre. You know what I'm saying? And you guys do that. You are Hollywood Undead, and no one else can ever be that. And
Yeah.
you don't have your own
It's
your own
weird,
lane.
because we've always been, for one reason or another, involved in like the metal community, like you were saying. We've always
Right.
toured with heavy bands. We've never actually geared ourselves in that direction. We've kind of always just done what we thought was good. If a song was good, I didn't care if that had a banjo in it or it was in drop D or anything else,
That's what's up.
as long as it was
Yeah.
good. So I've always found that kind of ironic. And granted, there's like heavy material, but to me, honestly, I think we fell in the right place because one thing I like, at least personally, about the metal community, it still is eclectic. Of course, there's always those dudes who are like, if it's not heavy, go home type attitude towards
Yeah,
music.
yeah. The very closed-minded
Yeah, I don't get
sector of
that
that.
because
Yeah.
you eliminate so many things that you might like. I try and listen to everything. That doesn't mean I try and write everything, but I still listen to Tom Petty all the time, and he's not heavy, and he's the best songwriter probably of all time. Him or the Beatles, and you have Creedence Clearwater Revival, and the guys who really,
Yes.
Jimi Hendrix, who made rock music what it is. And so you're going to tell me Jimi Hendrix isn't heavy, so you can't listen to him?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly, exactly,
what's the problem?
exactly.
So
Knuckleheads.
I always
A
try
lot
and
of
keep an
people are
open mind, and
knuckleheads,
I
man.
really do like your guys' stuff too.
Thank you,
I
thank
started
you.
listening to it more recently. Honestly, a shout out to Octane. That's how I found you guys. That's how I found a lot of those bands because I'll bump
Yeah,
in the car and I heard your single and I was like, dude, this it's fresh. It's got its own sound. It's really unique.
yes,
And
respect.
to me, that bands like you and a handful of others to me are very important because we're not duplicating what's been done. It's not cookie cuttered
Right.
out. And granted, along the way you might lose people. People might go, this doesn't sound like what I want to listen to. But what you're doing is much more important because you're kind of like you said, going your own road. and discovering new
Finding
things.
your own,
And
yes, finding your own path.
yeah, find your own path. And, you know, honestly, people are going to talk shit. People are going to hate it. We've dealt with that our whole career.
For sure.
Someone doesn't like it because of this or that, or the hip hop influence, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But I think it also makes us thrive because there's always been some level of adversity. And typically when you're challenged, I think that's when you do your best work and stuff.
That's when your best comes. Yeah, that's when your best comes out. I always say that adversity and competition breeds excellence.
Of course.
And I think, you know, coming out of this quarantine, and I've been saying it almost any time I go live, and I really feel that's kind of one of the things keeping me going here, is that I know that coming out of this, the music industry, especially our side, the performance, rock performance genres, it's going to be real competitive. And there are going to be a lot of bands that are going to fall by the wayside, and there are going to be a lot of bands that shine through. And those that stand the test of time because of this adversity that we're going through with the quarantine and all, I think that's going to really kind of define bands. And I'm excited because I think it's fire from the gods' time to be able to do that, you know, and to really, like, plan our flag. That's really what we've been trying to do, especially with this record. We wanted to plan a flag and let it be known that we do belong here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're not just another metalcore or rap rock band, whatever you want to call it. We're not just another one of those. We're not just here for a couple times. You know what I'm saying? I want to be black and smoke joints. People are funny.
There's nothing wrong with smoking joints, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, bro, so, you know, I'm just thinking that this is it, you know, this is where you got to grab the, you know what I'm saying, the bull by the horns, the proverbial bull by the horns, and really go for it, you know?
Well, dude, I mean, this kind of stuff, typically, you know, hardships, I mean, obviously no one alive, unless you're fucking 120, has been through something like this. So I think, you know, I certainly feel for a lot of touring bands because a lot of guys, that's how they live. And if they can't tour,
very much so.
You know, you're hand to mouth. I can't tour, I can't eat. And so I know there's a lot of bands that are going to be destroyed by this. So hopefully, you know, people keep their head up. I look at it as an opportunity. We just released an album. We have another record coming out pretty soon here. We're just going to go write another record because what else are you going to do is, you know, use the time to create. And honestly, the energy, I've always found that, you know, negativity or hardship breeds creativity. So if you're having a fucking rough time, go write a song about it. Because, you know, when shit's good, I've always had a tough time writing songs. That's why I always self-sabotage. If I have anything good in my life, I destroy it just so I can write a song about it. You know? Dude, the way it is. So
you're speaking my language, bro. And I'm glad you're a vet, so you know what that's like. Because when I say that to people, I think that it comes off as naive. They think like, oh, you're just a stupid kid, you know, like, or when I was younger, obviously, you know, that I figured like they felt like that was like me being immature, you know. It's like I used to have this chick back in the day, man, when I used to first start touring when I was like 20, and I would just call her, we would beef, I get all angry, then I get on stage and I'd have a killer ass set, or I get into a fight with her, then I'd write the best shit that I'd ever written in my life. So I thought that was naive, but hearing that from a vet, man, that makes me feel a lot more comfortable about knowing that writing from adversity is not the wrong thing. And writing from a dark place.
You know, like I love the early Beatles stuff, you know, the Good Day Sunshine stuff and all that stuff. But if every song was about going to the fucking park or going on a roller coaster, everything's like, I don't think music would really have a place, because the thing that draws people together and bonds people through music is hardship. It's not because everybody wants to go to the fucking club every night. Music plays its biggest part in my life from other people when I need it, when I'm feeling it. And, you know, I love like Elliott Smith and band, artists like that. So if I'm in a tough place, I listen to something that I don't know, it makes me feel like someone else understands it. And that's where music really has its value in society, is it bonds people through their mutual pains, not their mutual joys. Right. So destruction it will always breed creation. Do you need to destroy yourself to create? No. But
tear down and rebuild.
I think it doesn't hurt. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So this is
let me ask you a question, man. That brings me to my next question that I wanted to ask you. What was your musical path? I knew you joined the band. One of the founding members of the band.
Yeah.
So I guess Hollywood Undead, was that your first band, or were you doing something else? What got you together?
me and Charlie and Jay were in a band, 2 different bands, long before Hollywood Undead. So we had kind of, you know, when we were younger, you know, we did little garage band things, bedroom bands, the whole thing. Then we finally kind of took one seriously, and everybody knows how tough that kind of the business aspect of it is. We were all, you know, pretty poor kids too, so we had a really rough time. We never could get equipment. We had a lockout space on Hollywood Boulevard right down the street from where we grew up. And I remember actually, before Lincoln Park was Lincoln Park, they were called, Hybrid Theory. Before they named their album Hybrid Theory, they're actually called Hybrid Theory. They rehearsed down the hall from us. And they were just a bunch of kids from up in Agora Hills. So they're like the rich kids and shit. But this was before Chester joined. And one day they were like gone. Like we would see them all the time coming in and out. And I asked the lady downstairs, she was this chick who was working there all the time. I think she sold crack and coke and shit too, but she like worked the desk as like the whole thing.
Yeah, we've all, I got a story for you after this one. Yeah, the old band spot. Oh yeah.
So one day they were gone, and I asked her, she's like, yeah, they got signed to Warner Brothers. And I was like, what? I didn't honestly think it was possible. I thought it was kind of like, we love doing music and it was something, but I never actually thought it could happen. But when we heard that, this is still long before we had any success. We were still like teenagers, little kids. But that's when I started taking it seriously, because it was someone I didn't know them, but I knew they weren't from, you know, coming from some place where their dad worked at a record label or something. So I was like, so if you do this right, there is a chance. It may not be a big chance, but there's a chance. And that's when we really kicked into high gear. So our old band split up, and then we reformed, and kind of, we all grew up listening to hip hop. We're all from LA. And for some reason, you know, there's like a lot of cliches to the rap rock thing. I understand it. But we didn't want to not include it just because someone else said it wasn't cool. So we started doing it. And that's how Hollywood Undead kind of formed. We took our old sound and started implementing 808s and things like that.
What year was this?
This was 2004 when everything started with Hollywood Undead.
Damn, I was just starting to tour and shit, but I was like, I just got out of high school, joining college, and I was doing all like this metal shit, like heavy in the van, playing to 5 kids a night type shit. You know?
You get your stripes. I mean, it's funny because we worked for years doing what we thought we were supposed to do, making the music we thought we were supposed to make. Right. And when we kind of let all that go, that's how we formed Hollywood Undead. We kind of said, let's just do whatever the fuck we want to do, whether it's, and oddly enough, within like 6 months of us dropping music, we had like labels hitting us up. And we were like, wow, this is a trip. And it kind of happened fast. And, you know, Interscope hit us up and Atlantic hit us up. So like the big boys. And all of a sudden, to meet.
Did you have a lawyer or a manager or any of that shit around that time?
Yeah, we kind of fucked up. We knew one manager, and we just hired him because he was the only manager we knew. So that actually probably fucked our career up more than anything we've done, because he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. He just said he was.
You don't say.
Now I'd be like, well, what are your clients? And he doesn't have any. I'd be like, oh, maybe we should look somewhere else. But we didn't know anybody. He just said he was a manager, and he was also English. So I was like, dude, he sounds like like a guy from. He knows the business. British people can fool me, bro. I think they're all fucking geniuses just because they have an accent. So I was like, yeah, dude, this is the guy. So we got him. We started going to labels and doing all that. And that's when it really became real that, like, we were doing something big. And especially once multiple labels were interested, because then they were offering us, shit deals, and they'd offer us more money because some other labels.
So kind of like a bid. You got that bid. They put up a bidding war and all that.
Yeah,
that
so to speak. So we ended up. And we ended up going with Interscope and all this, and that's when we released Swan Songs and all that kind of crap. There was a big gap in between getting signed and putting the record out because a lot of everybody knows the label Horror Stories. They shelved our record because we wouldn't do certain things. They held the keys. They wouldn't put it out. So there was like this 2 years of, nothing happening.
Right. I never knew any of this, dude. Of course, a lot of people don't. But I don't know too much about Hollywood Undead. But it just seems to me that you guys went through the ringer, like the typical kind of LA sort of style. New York the East Coast is a little different when bands get signed, but you kind of went through the typical kind of LA West Coast thing. Because I was talking to JD from Korn when we were recording with him, and he had a very similar story. And I guess, you guys are like the next generation, because before you guys was like the PODs, Deftones, Korn, and even Fear Factory. I think they were LA around the time. And you guys are kind of like Linkin Park, that generation. So you're a little bit after. But he was saying, what he was saying was very similar. And it just seems like that seems to be the West Coast vibe, you know, because there's always managers and labels sniffing around looking for a new band.
There's just, you know, it's a hard lesson you have to learn. But when you first, I always thought, you know, when people acted like your friend, they're your friend. And, you know, I didn't have any reason to doubt that.
For sure.
It's a hard lesson to learn, especially in the music industry, is there's a lot of fucking crooks, and there's a lot of people that when they figure out you're not going to make them money anymore, you'll never get a call again. But 2 days ago, you were their best friend, and it's the harsh reality. And unfortunately, we had to learn it the hard way. We're like, dude, there's a lot of guys I thought were going to be friends of mine for the rest of my life in the record industry.
Homies. Oh, your family. You know, I have this thing when, and no offense to anyone that's on our team or anyone that I've worked with, and they know that about me. But there were these times where, like, we'll be on tour and we'll be in sub-zero conditions in, like, Utah in a van.
Yeah.
Freezing in the mountains. And then once you hit the LA show, you get to the West Coast and everyone comes out and everyone smiles in your face and, oh, dude, we're going to do this, and how you been? And I'm like, bro, you drove 30 minutes. Maybe you sat in traffic for an hour.
Yeah.
But you came up from Santa Monica to the Strip to see the band from your plush fucking home. You see your family every day. I just did a desert drive from Phoenix to LA, bro, and you're really going to sit here in my face and juice me? Like, come on.
And act like
you know
we're in the van with you. Man,
exactly.
Like,
we're in the trenches. Everyone wants to be in the trenches with you. Like, fam, just, you know, that's why I firmly believe in people doing their part. And, you know, just keep it copacetic. That's why I liked when we signed with Better Noise. I'd read an article about Jesus Christ, about Alan Kovac. And it was like, the dude was like, I'm not your friend. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's gangster.
I'm not your friend. Yeah, exactly. That's that real shit. Like, be real with me, bro. Like, yeah, you're not my friend. We are here. We're here to do something.
And business arrangement.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Very much so.
You don't hear that kind of honesty ever. At least I've never heard it. And, you know, the music industry's obviously changed a lot. When we came in, records still sold. They were still selling mad units and shit. Right. So, as it $1 million
fucking budgets and all that.
What's that, dude?
Like $1 million budgets and all that still.
Oh, dude, unfucking believable. Some records don't even have budgets. You just spend.
Right.
I remember when we made the video for Undead, the budget for the video was $500,000. The budget for the fucking video.
I was talking to Marco from POD when we were on tour with those guys about the same thing, and he was like, he said the budget for Alive was like $600,000 or some crazy shit.
Dude, they got like craft services. They got people just there to go get you drugs. So if we were like, hey, you know, I want an 8-ball of coke, they'd be like,
yeah.
I'd be like, no. 10 minutes later, you got an 8-ball of coke. You're like, dude, this is the life. And that's when we were young and we were reckless, especially back then. So we took full advantage of it. But you also don't realize I'm going to pay. You're not thinking about this. Is okay. So the budget's $500,000. We're on the hook for $250,000. So if there's a lot of artists who are a fuckload smarter than us that went, wait, let's just make a video for $30,000 because then I'm only on the hook for 15. But
there you go.
Like a lot of people, you get caught up in the imagery of like the music business. We start, you start going out, and we were always kind of ghetto kids, and no one really wanted us around. And then all of a sudden, a lot of people who didn't want us around wanted us around. And I hate to admit this now, but it felt good. You know, you were like, whoa.
Of course.
So we fell into.
I appreciate your honesty, my brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate your honesty, dude. Like, I've been, and not to sidetrack us, but I've been doing this now for about 3 weeks. And everyone that I've had on has been like a homie of mine from the business, and we never met. No. So I was like a little nervous, but at the same time, I was like, this is perfect. And I wish people would do this a little bit more. Like, before we go on tour, let's FaceTime. You know what I'm saying? Let's pick it for a little bit.
Hey, where do we shower, dude? You know?
Yeah, bro. But like, hey, man, I just want to know, can I get in your room? Or, you know, that one time where like the headliner's like, yo, if you want, just come have a shot with us. And I'm like, nah.
Dude, you gotta do a Zoom meeting with all the band members. Everybody has to fucking talk. Then who's dick, who you don't want to fuck with, and you don't
Who
have
you
to
want to fuck with? Yeah, word. Do you play sports or anything? You do any of that on tour? Any of that kind of shit?
We bring out we'll bring out baseball gloves and baseballs or a football to fuck around.
Okay.
We actually we got some gym rats in the band, so one of the first things we do is we wake up and we go to a gym. And that helps me a lot on the road, especially because I try and keep my shit together. It helps me blow off steam and stuff like that. We have a lot more readers than athletes. A lot of us, people like to read. People like to play that fucking Switch thing. I'm sure a lot of people know what the fuck is the deal.
Yeah. We're Xbox dudes. We just
Xboxers?
And yeah, we play Xbox. We play like FIFA and shit. Because Richie, our drummer, is from Germany. Oh, I grew up in the UK. I'm from New York, but I lived in the UK for a long time.
I could tell.
So I grew up playing soccer, and my folks are Jamaican, so I grew up playing football. So right. FIFA's my shit, and we watch a lot of soccer though. We watch a ton.
I've time
because I'll just.
Oh shit! Wait.
My bad. Yeah, there we go. We're back on.
Now I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we kick it and shit like that, dude, man. We like to have fun. We like to have fun on tour.
You guys play soccer on the road? You go to the park and shit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All of that shit, man. We'll find like a pitch and shit. You smoke?
No, I smoked for a long time, and then I've switched to vaping. A lot of people say it's the same thing. I don't think so. And then I actually fucking quit the first day. So I've smoked or vaped for 20 years since I was a little kid. I started when I was 13. Both my parents smoked, so I was allowed to smoke when I was young and drink.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a wreck. By the time I was 16, I looked like I was 50. So I quit vaping 4 days before we went to Europe with Papa Roach, and I made it through the whole tour. I made it 5 weeks with nothing. And it's funny because that was when all the COVID shit was going down. We didn't know when we were going home. Every show, we would find out the night before if we were playing the next day or if we were leaving.
Right.
I was fucking stressed out. At one point, I just hit my tour manager up. I was like, "Get me a Jewel thing," and he's like, "No."
The Papa Roach tour that you were on, was that with Papa Roach? Was that with Iceland Kills?
Yeah.
Okay, so we were gonna do that tour, dude.
No stress.
We were gonna do that tour, and I guess it didn't work out for Fire, which it ended up working out for us because we went on tour with The Who, that band from Mongolia.
Awesome. I love those guys.
yeah.
That's some
shit
right there.
Yeah, they're wild, dude. I like those dudes, man.
Yeah,
they get down.
I love that. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Is people say, "Oh, there's no room for this," and this is credit I give Kovac too, because he sees shit that other people don't see. I bet if you pitched a band like that to any executive, hey, these guys are from fucking Mongolia, they play instruments you've never heard of, and they don't do anything in English, they'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But Kovac's not. And you got to give somebody credit like that, because honestly, once Jimmy Iovine retired from Interscope, there's not a lot of visionaries left in the music industry.
Well, people are afraid to take chances in the music business nowadays. The only people that seem to want to do it are the rap dudes.
Yeah.
The sound people knock SoundCloud kids, but they're really out there, and they're putting themselves out there, and they're putting their art out there, even if it's not genuine, or even if it's comes off as something I don't really want to fuck with that. It still has this artistic flair to it. That's yo, I'm putting myself out there. Yeah. You like it or
vulnerable.
Not.
Rap is always, it's always been tough.
Yeah.
It's always been I'm the fuck you up. I'm the fuck your bitch. I got a lot of money. And now rap has shifted towards it's okay to be vulnerable, which I think is good. And to be honest, rap is the new, and maybe a punker would disagree with this, but it's the new punk rock. It's saying the things that
I don't disagree at all, man. I agree 100% with that. And they're saying everything that people want to say on a metal record now, but I think guys are a little too afraid to say, or too afraid to stand up and make the statement that you want to make.
Yeah.
Instead of everyone wants to fit into a mold, and the mold is not going to keep the genre in the mainstream. It's not going to keep people interested. It's just purely fuckery in my opinion. Yeah. And I don't knock my peer bands, but I want to do, like I said, I want to do shit like you guys did. You wear the mask. That has become you. That persona has become you, and there's no one else kind of touching that. And one thing I get from you guys' music too is kind of youth isn't forever, but while we're young, live it to your fullest.
Yeah, dude. I mean, everybody says they wish they knew now what I knew when I was young. I've always thought that statement is ridiculous, because if I was 20 and I knew what I knew at 32, I wouldn't have done any of the shit I did at 20. That's the whole point, is to be, you know, you learn hard lessons, and sometimes they hurt and stuff like that. But I think people try and avoid pain. That's their whole life is how do I avoid pain? How do I gain pleasure? Right. And it's asked backwards. I'm not going to say pursue pain, but if you don't allow those things to come in, dude, you're going to, at the end of your life, you're going to be like, what the fuck was the point of that? So to me, I've always kind of been willing, you know, to experience whatever the fuck comes, come whatever may. You have to, you know, be willing to experience those things, because
and adapt.
Yeah, dude, you know, like the first time, everybody can relate to this. First time that you and a girl break up that you love, it's horrible. You wish you were dead. You know, it's, oh my God. And
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
the worst fucking feeling. And now
we call it. My homies call it yo broing. We call it yo broing, because you know when you break up with a chicken, you call your homie like yo bro.
Yo broing.
Yo, bro. Yeah, but carry on.
Yeah, dude. No, and the thing is, so people's trying to avoid these things, but it's the only thing you're gonna fucking learn anything from. And half our first record was written about experiences like that. So if we didn't experience like that, we wouldn't be able to write it. And I don't know, like, life's hard. It's supposed to be hard. I don't think it's supposed to be easy. I want to come out at the end of it. I don't want to be all clean and in my little suit in my grave. I want to be beaten up, and I want to fucking know that, dude, I experienced life and everything it had to offer. That doesn't mean go do stupid shit, but certainly don't limit your experiences to trying to be safe. Let me get the best job I can so I make the most money and I can retire. I know motherfuckers that are 30 that are already thinking about retiring. Like, they don't even have their focus on being 30.
You shut down at that point. You shut down and you turn off all the receptors, and all you do is just, I have to pursue this. Yeah. And kind of the way I am, I'm bullheaded. And I think, like, when I say about dudes and bands like us, is like there's a degree of stupidness and hard-headedness involved. Because if you could look back, and sometimes some people are like, oh, don't do this, and they're so burnt out. I'm still like, I would still do it. Even with, you know, hard-headed as fuck, I would still carry on, because I feel an obligation to myself to do it, and I feel like an obligation to the people that are gaining something from the music. If they're gaining something from my art, then I know that I'm doing the right thing.
Dude,
feel me?
Music, to me, it's like the glue that keeps society together. I really believe that if there wasn't music, and I'm not trying to overstate the importance of music, because there's a lot of important things in the world, but I don't think one thing would exist. I think the commonality, when people all go out together, they put on music. When you're sad, you put on music. When you're happy, you put on music. Dude, I know people that met through music. It's like, it really is the glue that keeps us together. And if you make music, you have a responsibility to yourself to be honest. And that's the one thing that frustrates me with musicians, is like, tell your truth, even if you, oh no, that's corny, or I don't want people to know that. That's what they want to know. That's the only thing that makes it authentic. And then a lot of people listen to music. I still listen to music for therapy myself, even though I make music. So there's a lot of artists out there that, you know, if they didn't make certain records, I don't know where I'd be. I'm not saying I'd be jumping off a cliff, but I'd certainly be in a worse state of mind. And I still turn to music at my darkest, and I still turn to music at my brightest. So I don't know where I would be without it, and I know there's a lot of people that feel the same thing.
Got you. Yo, that's what's up, man. So what's the home life, man? I know you're married, yeah?
Yeah, I'm married. I got a baby downstairs. She's 6 months old. She just turned 6 months.
Is that your first kid?
No, I got a 10-year-old daughter. Sorry, she's about to turn 11. I didn't forget her age. And she's over at a buddy's house, and then I have a little girl here. That was the one kind of blessing of the touring stuff, is, you know, I missed the majority of my first kid's childhood because we were gone all the time. I actually, we left for Europe the day after she was born. So I always had some pangs because of that. So the one blessing on that end is, you know, I got to watch my little girl grow up. You're making up for it.
Yeah, you're making up for it with the 6-month-old, but still 10, you know, she's still developing things, you know. I have a 2-year-old, so
that's awesome.
I'm like, dude, oof. But the one, so I'm still going through the first daddy, the first kid, daddy issues. Like, I'm learning new things about her every day.
Yeah.
I think she's learning new things about me every day. But she's learning, what she's really learning is how far she can take it, you know?
Yeah. Pushing the limit.
Which gets, exactly. How much she can push.
You know, a trick I use, one thing I always did with my daughter, kids, you know, like, you know, lullabies, they're real catchy, or little hooks, and like, you know, Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Oh, yeah.
Kids have a natural ear. They're not distorted for melody that we don't have, because we get, you know, there's so much noise, convolution in what we hear. So when I would write a chorus, I would bring my daughter in the car and I'd play it for her, and like I'd watch her reaction. I'd turn it off and I was like, "Do you like that?" And she'd be like, "No." And I was like, "Okay." And I would use choruses that she was like, "I like that, Daddy," or she'd sing along, you know, afterwards. Yeah. Melody. So I use her. You know, she's advanced my career.
Cool. Yo, dude, I'm using that.
Yeah, dude. They know more about that. Kids know so much shit that people don't give them credit for, you know. It's sad because I notice a lot of
parents pick up on so many things.
Dude, they pick up on everything. And we have so many social stigmas that block our perceptions. So many, you know, there's all these different systems in place to conform adults. And so what a lot of people do, sadly, is kind of try and domesticate their kids as opposed to let them, you know, be a kid and, oh, don't do this, don't do that. So I always let her make her own decisions and stuff like that. And honestly, she calls me out. It's cool. Like, if I'm being a dick, my mom, she'll say, "You're being a dick," in those exact words too. I don't mind.
Yeah.
You know, cussing's okay in the house as long as you don't do it outside. And I'm like, "You're right. I'm being a dick." And you know, I've learned probably more about myself from her than anybody else, because kids are so fucking honest. They won't smile to your face and act behind your back, "Oh man, this guy's a fucking prick." They'll tell you. Yeah. You should listen to
Shout out to Rock Dads, man.
They listen to you.
Dude, I'm learning so much from like a lot of the other rock dads. You know, I watched LeJean from Seven Dust with his kids.
He's awesome, man. He's a great guy.
I spent a week with JD, man, and saw the way he reacted with his sons, and that's kind of what convinced me that it kind of put it on me like, yeah, I can do this, man. You can be a dude in a band and tour and shit and have a kid, you know? Like, you can do this. Because I saw these other dudes doing it, I was like, yeah, I could do this shit, you know what I mean?
Anything you fucking want, as long as you're willing to do the work, you know? A lot of people think you can't do it because they're dicks. So they go, "Oh, I'm in a band. I don't need to be a father. Or I'm a father and I shouldn't be in a band." Those are just perceptions. It's just a perception. And I get it, because I was real nervous when my first kid was born, because I was still really young. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have any money and all these things. So it's very tempting to be like, I can't do this. But in reality, anybody can do anything they fucking want. Certainly raising a kid in a band, people, you know, Tesla, fucking Thomas Edison did shit that I can't do. I can't.
Exactly.
I can raise a fucking kid and play music at the same time.
Yes. All right. So shifting before we, because I know Instagram's going to shut us off in a little bit.
Fuckers.
But shifting before we go, I wanted to have you seen what these like rap producers are doing, where they're going live and they're going album for album, song for song with each other?
I honestly haven't. What do they do?
So,
like, they critique the songs?
Something like that. They kind of talk about it, and they don't really get into like how much money the song made or any of that kind of stuff. They really just talk about the fan reaction and people like it and stuff like that. And they'll, you know, Teddy Riley and Babyface went up against each other the other day, and you know, those guys wrote and worked on like every R&B record, like, all that baby making music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the dopest one was, I think, the RZA went up against, I forget who it was, man. But the point is, if you had like bands that could do that, like I really wish like rock bands from certain, like, I guess, certain time periods and genres, they could do it. You know, like if Slipknot went against Lamb of God, or like, you know, like Slayer versus Metallica or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Album for album, song for song. Yeah. It's dope, man. A lot of hip hop producers are doing it. I think it was RZA and DJ Premier. Thank you. I got a little assistant here now, since I'm like Joe Rogan trying to run the podcast. I'm thinking about doing a podcast, man. Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking about trying to turn this into a podcast. It's taken my Friday nights, because typically I probably go out, have a drink with a homie, or stay home and play Xbox. But I'm digging talking to new friends and talking to homies online, man.
Do it. You know, honestly, my favorite form of entertainment is listening to fucking people talk. You know, and I think Joe Rogan has a lot to do with that. You know, he popularized the podcast. But dude, when I used to get bored, I would watch some TV or some shit. Now I go
Yeah.
on my phone if I'm going on a run or I'm doing some shit. I listen to Joe Rogan because he's got the fucking most eclectic people coming on there.
Dude, it's incredible, man.
And you learn a
And
lot
it's
about
not,
people. You
I'm not
presume
pigeonholed.
to know. You presume you think things about people, and I've been pretty stunned numerous times about what people think and what people feel because we as human
Right.
beings, we make assumptions, and I assume someone.
It's
I've assumed a
natural.
lot of people were dicks that were really nice, and the opposite. You know what I mean? I met guys that I was like, this guy's going to be fucking awesome, and they're big dicks. So you're like, oh, so it's interesting because you can learn
Yeah.
all this shit about people, and people. You know, one thing too, in the metal community especially, guys, there's a lot of really, really smart people, but I think the
very
public
much so.
perception of metal is like Hesh or moron. You know what I mean?
Right.
To play guitar in a metal band, you already have to be pretty fucking smart because that's like mathematics.
Yeah, to figure that shit out. Exactly.
The general public, I think, assumes we're a bunch of dope smoking idiots. And, you know, you listen to like guys like Randy Blythe or Corey Taylor, and you realize these guys, they're very, very bright people. And
Randy's extremely intelligent.
Cool for people to understand that, like, the long hair doesn't equal a small
Yeah,
brain.
it lifts the veil a little bit, and it's. I think that's what people, you know, with the pop people, the pop stars, and all that. They have this perception, and they garner this perception that they're angels, and you know, they sing about love, and they sing about all the bubblegum things that make life nice and pretty, sugar, spice, and everything nice, you know. But at the end of the day, I think there's more. I get more out of listening to heavy music and very well thought out, spoken things that really allow me to express the feelings that I'm feeling inside, that rage. And that's what I love about Slipknot, man. It really put a face on my demons, so to speak. It helped me categorize, like Slipknot really helped me. And that's why I tell people, I was like, I have an unhealthy obsession with that band. You know?
No, it's
like,
healthy, dude. They're worth being those guys always come. Every time they come out with music, I'm like, what's this going to be? You know, one thing I like about Slipknot is when you listen to them, it always sounds like it's about to like go off the rails because it's so fucking, you know, it's just everywhere. And somehow they're so tight and chaotic at the same time. And it's like everything I hear from those guys, album after album, is special. And you have to, for someone to do it that well for that long, you have to give those guys credit. Slipknot deserves all the praise.
Ahead of the curve.
I don't think, dude, they made the curve in a lot of ways. You know, it's, at least in our current music scene, I think everybody has some aspiration to be Slipknot because of what they do and the impact they've had.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, bands like Slipknot and, you know, in this generation, they're exactly like in the 60s, what bands like the Beatles were and stuff like that. They talk about blazing your own fucking road. Those guys created a lane and have owned it ever since. So, I don't think there's an unhealthy obsession with a band like that. I think it's all healthy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, wicked, brother.
It's healthy.
Do you have you checked out a band called Dropout Kings?
Should I?
Check them out.
Yeah.
Check them out. They're from Arizona. It's a hip hop. It's a hip hop rap metal thing, but they've got metalcore vibes.
Okay.
Real dope kid. The vocalist has got so much swagger. Like it's dope, dude.
Yeah,
and if you're into just like, if you want to just listen to something vibing,
to listen to.
Yeah, man.
You know.
Yeah, dude, I really think when the tour does happen, if it does in fact happen in the near future, we got to kick it and do like some bro down and listen and listen to some music. I'm gonna put you on to some shit, man, and then you can put me on to something as well that I don't know about. But bro, I'm gonna get going because. Every time I've done this, it just shuts off, and I'm like, dude, that's so rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but bro, thank you so much.
And I got your number. So stay in touch, bro. And we'll make
bro.
Shit happen.
Yes. Do you write any, like, produce anything like that?
I write music all the time. This is my little room right here. This is where it all.
Okay, you got your own little setup and all that.
Yeah. Well, I don't. I'm horrible. I can't work a computer. I know how to like go on a porn site. That's about it. But Charlie and Jay, they produce, and then we'll go to different people. But this is kind of my little area where I come up with my ideas and write my skeletons and stuff like that. Yeah. I got a little vibe.
Okay, wicked. Yeah, I've got a little room now, man. Thanks to my significant other, she set me up with a little space in our new place. You know what I mean? Because I know nothing about that, like home decor and all that shit. So
that's your
I was on tour.
Bro.
I was like, oh, we've moved. and here's my room. Okay, word.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wicked. Yo, Rude Boy, thank you so much for joining, brother. I appreciate you,
Thank
man.
you.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Tales from Quarantine. Your boy AJ is out. Johnny Three Tears. Wicked, bro.
Talk
Thank
to you
you.
soon, bro.
Peace. That was fun.
You still have like 20 minutes.
I know, but I don't have like 20 minutes.
Yeah, you started at like 6:10. That's okay. I'm just kidding.
Yo, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you all. This has been another Tales from Quarantine. I think I'm gonna start surprising the guests. I'm not gonna announce who the week before, but check Fire's page. We've got a Patreon now. A lot of cool shit that we're posting. We're posting a lot of exclusive stuff. I feel very enlightened, man, because I'd never listened to Hollywood Undead, and now that I've like talked to the homie and hung out with him for a bit, I love it, man, and I really get the vibe now from what I've heard about the band and heard of the band. I'm getting the vibe. I fucks with it. Yo, I love you guys. Thank you for all the support, man. Thanks for supporting Fire from the Gods. Oh, I'm missing so many comments. I should have I try to respond to those that I can, but bro, can you remind me the song you played before starting live? That was the song before that I started playing was fuck's sake. It was called Life by Jelly Roll. Life by Jelly Roll. Remember that. Life by Jelly Roll. All right. Thank you guys so much, man. Appreciate you. Peace out. This has been another Tales from Quarantine. Check out Fire from the Gods. Check out Hollywood Undead. We were supposed to be on tour together, and we probably will be on tour together at some point. Love you guys. I'll be back next week. Peace.